Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we had the first round of the playoffs against the Chicago Blackhawks, which we kind of expected a playoff loss, and we got that. However, it was actually a little bit closer than I actually thought it would be because of the fact most of our losses came by only one goal. So I do think our team had a pretty good little run, just for the fact that obviously we have a young roster. But you could see game one we lost 5-3, so it was not the closest game in the world, but it wasn't the most egregious loss. Then we won 2-1, so we were back into this series, but then we dropped 3 straight games by only a goal. So pretty much every game was a 1-goal game except for the first game. So I definitely think we had a good little run for our team, and hopefully that helps out with the success in the future. So yeah, it was a very good learning experience for the team, and I think we're going to only get better with this team because the offense was great. The defense obviously is still a work in progress with our prospects, but I definitely think we're going to get to a point where this team is going to be a very solid playoff contender with the amount of young talent that we have built up between the NHL and the AHL. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments before we get into the draft and resign stage. I believe there's only one comment to go for, and that is true, and it's from Michael Dost, who just says, friendly reminder to sign an NHL goalie coach. So I definitely got to remind myself to do that here, because I obviously think it's imperative that we have ourselves a good goalie coach, because our all-star goaltenders might not simulate well. But also this draft class is going to be a pretty good draft class for us. I think we should be able to get ourselves a decent amount of steals. As we saw at the end of last episode, I pinned a bunch of players, because you can see there is a lot of guys that are for sure listed as low elite and some guys that could be low elite. So we should be able to draft ourselves quite a bit of good players in the draft to help out with our prospect pool. So I was writing down basically on who I think we're going to be able to actually draft. So I think we're going to be able to draft Jaqueezy for sure. I think we might be able to get Hurd, but I might have to move up a couple spots because we do have an early second rounder from the Rangers. We also do have our own first rounder, obviously, which I think I might use to draft Jimmy Scarlett, who looks like an NHL ready top 4 defenseman, maybe even a medium elite, but probably not medium elite. There was also, I think that we could be able to draft Enroth. I think there was also Eberle I could be able to draft, and then there's a choice between a couple other guys, but we should be able to draft majority of these players. Some of them we won't definitely get, because I don't think I'm going to be able to find a way to have us having like multiple picks in that area, but I do think we're going to grab ourselves a lot of low leads and also some guys that we don't necessarily know their potential. But I think our team is going to have a very good draft here for the club. So I'm hoping that my Drafted Glory series eventually gets a draft like this, because I think this should be the best draft we've seen, maybe even all of NHL 24 so far on my channel, which is pretty awesome. So anyways, let's hop into this draft and see if we can get ourselves some good prospects. I don't think we're going to be making any trades at the draft, because I honestly don't have anybody on this team I want to move away yet from. Maybe eventually Chinnikov and Michelli, but not until like next episode if that is the case. But let's hop into the draft and see what we could do here. I am going to see if I can move up already in the second round. Wow, Vancouver wants to trade the top overall pick. That's kind of interesting, but I don't really have the assets I'd want to move for first overall. But they do want to move their early second rounders, so I think we're going to try and move up this 5th pick to their 2nd pick. The reason being on that is because I do want to try and get Jamal Hurd, who's supposed to go 35th, and he's guaranteed low elite. I don't have much interest in Tutu, Cornette, and Del Rio, who are supposed to go around that spot. So let's try and make a deal with the Canucks so they move back a couple spots. And then we will give up maybe just a prospect that we're not going to utilize. I don't even really know, to be honest, but because we have a very young roster. So we will give you guys the second rounder. That's a little bit later. So a couple spots back. And what about... I could just give you guys Ivanov, honestly, because Scarlett, the medium elite, should be in the AHL next year. So what if I just throw Ivanov into this deal? Would that get it done to move up a couple spots? Because I don't mind giving up Ivanov. He's a decent goaltender, but we don't really need him. He's just going to be a depth goalie in the AHL at this point. And he's only played, one game so far, and he's already 21. So let's see if the Canucks will accept that. Rejected. Probably because there's nothing that's intriguing to them. Do you have any interest in any prospects that have low value? Or anybody that I don't really need? Let me just sort by overall here. I could throw in somebody like Salamonson, to be honest. I know we already don't have a lot of defensive prospects, but honestly, we're going to be replacing Salamonson in this draft probably. Yeah, I think I might throw Elias Salamonson into the deal. They want Salamonson. We'll take out Ivanov. That should easily get it done. I might be able to even get a later pick into this deal as well. Because yeah, Salamonson might crack our NHL team this upcoming season, but he doesn't have the potential to become an absolute stud of a defenseman. So let's see if I can get another pick into this deal as well. They want to trade almost all their picks, which is kind of crazy. Where was another one of those guys supposed to go that I was intrigued in? Somewhere around 77 was Hopkins, who looked decent. Louis Vara at 56 I should be able to get. So it was either Rantanen or Hopkins in round 3, which I was thinking Rantanen. It's more so in the early other parts of the second round that I'd want, but we don't want to have... I could just take another... we're going to get interrupted soon, so let's just make it a 5th round pick and see if that works. Wow, okay. Here, let's just make this go through because I just want to make that trade. There we go. So Salamonson is gone. And we do move up early into the second round. Is it a bad trade? No, I don't think so. And yeah, this draft class should be a very good one based on the first overall pick. Vancouver takes Braden Hughes, who's an 84 out of the draft. And this guy's got 93 shooting across the board. Yikes. Yeah, well, it's kind of surprising the Canucks actually wanted to try and move that pick, but there we go. So there's the top pick. Let's take a look at the other picks. I think that's the only trade we're going to make at this draft is moving on Salamonson, because we're going to likely replace him with some of these other guys anyways. So that's why I got rid of him. Yes, we don't have a lot of defensive prospects right now, but we should have some after this draft. That might be a bit more better in terms of NHL already. Like if we draft that, what's his name, Scarlet guy, he's going to probably be a higher overall than what Salamonson was in the first round. And he's going to easily be able to take over that role that he was in. So that's at least a hope. Okay, let's take a look at what Anaheim gets at 2. And 84 for Koivisto as well. Holy crap, man. Yeah, this is definitely a strong draft out of the gate at least. Yanni Koivisto, very good shooting categories as well. Yeah, no real weakness with this guy. So they have 2 very good players out of the draft. Like these guys could develop into the high 90s. Like this might be a draft class we come back to in like 10 years time and be like, damn man, this was a series changing draft. Let's see what Philly gets at 3. They get Falk, who's only a 78, so a little bit of a drop off there, or quite of a bit of a drop off. He looks pretty good though still. A good passer, 86 passing, solid shooting. No real weakness as well with this guy other than his physical attributes, which makes sense since he's a skilled forward. What is St. Louis getting at 4? 80 overall lash off. Okay. Not too bad. Also has an X factor. 91 shooting across the board. Damn. Yeah, there's going to be some really good goal scorers in this series soon. So there is Jeff Lashoff with close quarters. And Nashville at 5 is going to take Cons, who's an 80 overall. Yeah, this is a pretty good top 5. A lot of X factors for this dude. Shane Cons. There he is. Really good shooting as well. There you go. So yeah, that top 5 is very strong. Falk is obviously a little bit weak, but he is still almost like an NHL player. He's listed as a depth forward, but the rest of them are all NHL ready, which is kind of crazy. Well, Cons and Lashoff are depth forwards at the moment, I think, but let's see. Yeah, they're all listed as depth forwards except for Koivisto and Hughes, who are both already like third-line scorers. Why does it jump like that? What the heck? When I go to here and then press on the trigger, it jumps all the way to a pick way later. That's weird. I don't even know why that does that. Buffalo wants to make the move their 7th overall pick, which is interesting, but I'm not going to try and move up. Like I said, we have some good selections ahead of us anyways. Let's sim to our pick at 23rd now. We should be able to get Scarlet, but we are definitely going to take a look at some of the other guys in case. As here's the rest of this first round up to our pick. A lot of good overall potential top 6 forwards and top 4 defenders going. Angus, who went 12th overall, was a medium elite defenseman. That's a pretty good steal there for the Arizona Coyotes. Rabbit was a medium top 6, 75 overall. Wow. Yeah, this is a pretty good draft. A lot of AHL, NHL ready players. That's neat. Okay, so there is also some other guys that we could look at. Justin Rowe if we wanted a forward, but I honestly don't think it's necessary to go for a medium top 6 forward at this spot. There's also some medium 9s, but they're listed as like busts, and they're not very good. A lot of guys that aren't confirmed. That's why I'd rather go all the way off the board here and take Jimmy Scarlett. There is also like Emmerich, but Emmerich I don't think is as good. And yeah, Scarlett looks pretty damn solid. He is guaranteed to be NHL ready as well, which is nice. So he's likely going to be jumping to our defensive core next season. Does that mean we're going to let go of some people on our defensive core? Probably. Like Regula is going to be gone. Scarlett could come in. And yeah, hopefully Scarlett's a decent overall out of the draft. If he's a medium 4, that would be decent. But if he's a low elite, that'd even be better. But I think he's going to be a medium 4 here. So Jimmy Scarlett, welcome to Winnipeg. And he is a medium 4, 77 overall DFD. It's pretty damn good. Pretty solid pick there. Obviously, he's not going to help us out much offensively, but this guy's literally a very solid replacement for somebody like Kolyachonok or Regula, at least at the moment. So yeah, Jimmy Scarlett might be on our NHL team next season. Is he AHL eligible? He is not. So I need your guys' opinion on that, because I probably won't sign him to his ELC yet. I'll leave it till the next episode. But do you guys think he should be signed to his ELC and played in the NHL, or do we give him a year? Because a lot of top 4s that are high overalls at a draft don't develop much more after that. So we definitely want to find the good development path for this guy. Like putting him next to somebody that's pretty decent. Like he would be good next to, I guess, like Kyrou maybe, because Kyrou's an offensive defenseman, I think. So we'll see what Scarlett ends up looking like. Rowe ends up being a 64 overall. Let's take a look at what the Rangers got. Gonchar 62 overall, medium 9 only. And oh man, we missed out on a medium elite defenseman. See, I didn't realize the draft class was that strong too. Joaquin Cope. We never scouted out this guy at all. And he was a medium elite 2-way defender. That's a really nice pick up there for the Vegas Golden Knights. Kind of wish I saw that over the defenseman we just drafted, but there was no way of telling, so it is what it is. We'll have to cope with it. LeBeau goes to New Jersey. Calgary will take Andronov. These guys are not as good, but they still have high overalls, which is good for their potential, because they might actually develop. Green's also top 9. Low elite 65 overall in DeFazio. Damn, man, I wish I'd have saw that too. So a couple really good players in this first round that we didn't even scout out. So we had a lot of guys pinned, but not these two guys. So Pierce DeFazio looking very, very good. That's a massive steal for the Dallas Stars. And in Tampa, in their last pick of this first round, let me see what they grabbed, see if they got any good steal there too. No, Pospisil's not that good. Okay, so we have the second pick in the second round. What's Philly going to grab here early on? Another top 9. A lot of top 9s going, which is making me a little bit scared. Obviously, we know that Herta for sure is a low elite, though, which is at least good. I'm not going to take a chance on Emmerich because he could be a medium 4, but he also could be a medium 6. We definitely want to find out how good he actually is, though. So we're definitely going to go for Jamal Hurd here since he's a guaranteed low elite at this stage. So Jamal Hurd, he doesn't look the best on paper, so he's probably going to be a little bit more of a project low elite, not like that other guy, but he should be a decent player for us down the middle. He's also a very big guy, so there is a good chance. Actually, he's not a power forward. He's a 2-way forward, but he will help us out with a little bit more size down the middle. So Jamal Hurd, welcome aboard. He's a 60. That's actually higher overall wise than I thought based on those attributes. So Jamal Hurd, is he AHL eligible? He is. That's another one. Does he get thrown to the AHL right away, or do we wait a few years? I think we would wait a few years maybe, because he's only a 60. Because he could jump up to like a 78 after 1 year, maybe in the United States. So we might send it back to the USA for one more season. Let's see what that other guy was looking like. So Cote, top 6. Kovalev, top 4. Emmerich was top 4 and a 72 overall. I knew he was going to be decent, but he is also a DFD kind of similar to the defenseman we took in the first round. So there's Jonas Emmerich. Pretty good player. I'm not going to write down everybody that I just saw, but it will be interesting to take a look at all those guys we had pinned, because I feel like a lot of them would have been really decent to draft for this team, but I'm not going to obviously trade for every single pick to get every single one of them in. Okay, let's sim to our next pick at 55, I guess. Yeah, because we aren't going to be able to get Tutu, Cornet, or Del Rio. I'm going to have to take a look and see how good those guys are. I should be able to get Louis Vara here in the next round, which would be good, because he might be decent. So before our pick here, let's actually just call a timeout just in case it takes us a little while. But let's take a look at what maybe for us. There was a medium elite goalie who's a 61 in this next round. That's kind of crazy. Francois Lebrun. What else we got here? A couple low 4s with high overalls. Lowly Gertzen. Oh, Joaquin Gertzen. We did have this guy. We did look at this guy, but I didn't pin him. He is a low lead and a very good overall too, so that's a nice pick for the Flyers. Kind of wish I would have traded up to get a pick earlier, but it is not the biggest problem in the world. But Gertzen's going to be very good. That's a nice second round pick. Cornette, who we were looking at, is a medium 6, only a 59 at 18, so this guy might be more of a project. He was one of the guys I was looking at. There was also Tutu, who should be in this part of the draft. Yep, there he is, medium 9 only, 63 overall, though at 18 is not bad. But glad we didn't have to take him. Del Rio was only a 59 as a defenseman, so he was also a project player. So a couple guys were projects that we had pinned, but that's okay. Another medium elite goalie in Dallas McNeely, 63 overall, going to the Flames. And that was that. So let's make our selection here. And yeah, we'll probably go with Louis Vara because, I mean, I don't really want a low 6, and I don't know about these other guys that are likely medium 9s or something like that. So I think Louis Vara being maybe a low elite would be a good pick here. And then likely next round we have a choice between Rantanen and Hopkins. And then I'm hoping that we can get all the other late guys because I think we should have enough picks to get those other guys. Let me double check on those dudes. Yeah, we have enough picks to probably get those other dudes. So we're going to take a chance with Louis Vara here and hope that he's a low elite 60 plus overall defenseman. So Tony Louis Vara from Leksands, who's a Finn playing in Sweden. Let's see how good you are. Low elite 63 two-way defenseman. That's a massive steal. We knew he was potentially going to be a low elite, and he actually is. That's awesome. That's a great steal. Very, very good steal. And he's definitely going to be one of those defensemen that is going to help out our defense core quite a bit. Also, being a two-way defenseman is nice too, because obviously we got to have a little bit of a puck-moving defenseman. It would be nice to get an OFD at some point, but I will take a low elite for sure. Let's see. So we did not take, who was it at this point? No, there was nobody at this point other than him I wanted to take a look at. Rantanen's supposed to go at 87. He might go a little bit earlier, so hopefully he doesn't. If he does, I might have to go off the board here, but let's see what went before our pick, if there was any interesting players. Just because I feel like I should maybe make these drafts a little bit more interesting by looking and seeing what the AI is grabbing. That guy's decent in terms of overall, but low potential. Yeah, the draft class has definitely dipped off in terms of potential a lot, but there is still these random steals now and then. Like Kirka, 60 overall starters, not bad. What's Stock's first name? Steven Stock. Huh. Nobody else interesting there. Let me see after our other second rounder here. I forget that we're so early into this draft, so actually wait, it was third round, right? I don't even know what I'm looking at this point. Let me just go to this draft pick and see. Yeah, Rantanen is still on the board. He is still listed as a gem, but he might be only a low 4. It is a little bit of a risk, but we don't really know on Champion, who's low 6 likely, low 4 likely for Dalmal. There is a goaltender in Drake De Silva, but he is 19. So I think we're going to take a Rantanen since he's a gem, and hopefully he's a low elite and not a low 4. I feel like he's going to be a low 4, but if he's a low elite, that would be a nice, good offensive steal again for our team. So we've had some good luck with Finn so far. Can Lassie Rantanen be another one? He cannot. Low 4. 64 overall is pretty good for a low 4, but he might become more of an AHL defenseman, but if he develops into an NHL defenseman, that's still a decent pick. So not terrible, but definitely our worst pick yet of the draft, but at least he has a good starting overall, not like a 57 top 6 demon like this guy, Boyd. Let's enter our next pick at 107. We should be able to grab a low elite in Enroth here, unless he went earlier, but I don't think he went earlier. If he went earlier, I would be kind of mad. Yeah, I don't think he went earlier, which is good. Okay, so yeah, Enroth is supposed to go way later still, so we will take Enroth here. He's a left wing, right wing, which is kind of nice. We could play him on both sides. He's a sniper, got good shooting categories, but the rest of his stuff needs a lot of work. So he's probably going to be like a low overall, like a 50 something, but we should be able to develop him into hopefully being a good player. So Enroth, welcome aboard. 53 overall, yep, pretty much as I expected. So Ludwig Enroth, very small dude, but he should develop into being a good goal scorer, either at the NHL or AHL level. So that's another good steal for this team. We have 2 more low leads to grab, potentially in Jacuzzi and Eberle. And I don't think there's anybody else that we want to try and get in this draft, right? Really? If I'm not mistaken. It was just those 2 guys. Yeah, I think it's just those 2 guys that I want left. So the last pick might be one that's completely up in the air when we decide to draft. Now, what's interesting about the Zenroth pick is this is the pick I think that we got from the Nashville Predators. So we definitely had a pretty good return for Rasmus Kupari, I think it was. Let's do our next pick at 119. See if there was anything interesting that went before our pick. Let's see. Any random steals that we didn't know about? No. Okay. So with this pick, let's see. I could take Jacuzzi already, but it's pretty early on. So do we want to take a risk with somebody else? Probably not. I don't really know if there's anybody worth it. Connor could be a low lead. Bill Connor. But he looks definitely like a major project. I will pin him in case. We do have the time to maybe make a random selection to see if it's actually good or not. Pierre Lemaire also looks kind of intriguing. Like his shooting category is good and puck moving. He also actually might be a decent selection here. But he also might not be. Let me see. What picks do we got here? So we have this pick, and then the next pick is when we could grab Jacuzzi. This pick we could grab Eberle, and then afterwards the 7th round is just completely up in the air. So yeah, we'll take a random guy here, just because we've had some good luck before. Let's see if we could find ourselves as somebody that we didn't actually have pinned. So I think Bill Connor might be my pick, because he's got 2-bar low elite. However, that defenseman looks intriguing too in Lemaire, but he's got guaranteed no weakness. Might be medium elite. Might be medium elite, but it's tough to tell. Not really sold on Connor's stats, so I think I am going to actually go for the defenseman and hope that he's good. Is Pierre Lemaire that good? Let's bring him in and try. He's not really. He's a low 6, which is not great, but the 60 overall is actually not bad. He does have some solid shooting, and he's an OFD, so hey, maybe this guy's a wild card that makes it. I have seen, I think, some low 6s pan out in my Draft to Glory series, if I remember right. So who knows? Maybe this guy becomes a very good stud player in the AHL level, or even makes the NHL. But that's definitely our worst pick yet of this draft. But I mean, we had to make a random selection at some point, right? So okay, now we should be able to get our 2 guys we want. So let's take Jacuzzi with this pick. He's probably going to be a major project, but welcome aboard. And he's a 52 2-way 4, not bad. Still, that's like our 3rd low lead of this draft, which is kind of crazy. I would love to see these type of drafts in my Draft to Glory. So there is Jacuzzi. Let me actually take a look at what went before our pick, just in case there was anything we missed out on. Not really. Pellick was a high overall for a backup, which I think I saw last episode, but I didn't pin him. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that don't have the best potential here in the later stages, but some of them have good overalls, which means they might end up panning out. Like Bus is a 62, but he's probably an overager, my guess. 62 on Huxley. See, so some of these guys might actually end up being something decent. A lot of low 9s though at this point, which means some low elites might actually not be low elites. But let's enter our next pick at 183. See if we missed anything before our pick here. Let's see. Not really. Some medium 9s, but probably won't pan out. Yeah, not really missing out too much at this point. So we're definitely going to get the good pick here with Mr. Was it Quincy? Quinton Eberle, not Quincy. So Quinton Eberle, welcome aboard as well. And you are a 51 2-way forward. So we might have a couple 2-way forwards to help out with our defensive play and our penalty kill down the road, which is nice. So there is Quinton Eberle. And our final pick of the draft, this one's going to be completely up in the air because I have not really scouted out enough players, I guess. Oh, there was a low lead there, Novoseltsov. That would have been nice. Didn't realize he was still on the board. Huh. And I didn't even realize he was a low lead. Okay, let's see. For this final pick, can we find ourselves one more low lead? Maybe in Jeremy Riddle. No weakness, no strength. I will pin him in case. There is also Bickle, who's 3-bar low lead. Let me see. Yeah, Bickle might be the unanimous choice here, considering he might be a low lead. there's a higher chance he's low lead over Riddle. If we look at their potentials and stuff like that, yeah, I think Bickle is definitely better. So Riddle's going to be off my board. What about Steos? He's a 19-year-old already, so I'm going to write him off. Same with Kessler. Yeah, I think we're going to take a chance on Jerry Bickle, who's 18, might be a low lead as well. Let's hope that he is. And he is. Let's go. 49 overall, low lead playmaker. What a bunch of low leads in this draft, man. This might be the most low leads I've ever snagged in a draft. Because if we go back to our pick, actually, let's not go to that selection. Let's go to this screen. You can see that, actually, it doesn't even show my full list. Wow, okay, that kind of annoys me. But we got 4 low leads within our last 5 picks. So, we did very well. There was also Hurd, who was a low lead we drafted. And I think that was it. No, maybe Louis Vara was a low lead, right? Yeah, Louis Vara was also a low lead. So I think we might have got like 6 low leads in this draft, if I remember right, which is absolutely insane. Let's sim the rest of this draft here. And yeah, let's go through our picks. So we got Scarlett, who's NHL ready. We got Hurd, who's a low elite. Louis Vara, who's a low elite. Rantanen was a low 4, but a high overall. Enroth, who's a low elite. Lemaire, who's a low 6, but a high overall. And then we got Jacuzzi, Eberle, and Bickle as low elites. So a very good draft for this team, and that's definitely going to help out us down the road for sure. Like, if a lot of those guys actually develop like low elites, we are in for a very good offensive core, even more so than we have now, and a very good defensive core too. Let's get to this resign stage, see what we got to do. We'll bring back every scout for now, and then we could look to replace them in next episode if there is any better ones out there, which there might be. But for right now, we're just going to resign all of our scouts, just because I don't know if there's going to be much out there. Yeah, this series is definitely doing a lot better in terms of drafting than my Draft to Glory, I feel like, in a way. It seems like after a certain point, my Draft to Glory, we weren't able to find really good players. Let's see, Leak. I feel like we have a lot of scouts to bring back. Yep, there you go. And was there any coaches up for renewal? I don't think so, right? No, there was not. They all have 2 years left. Okay, resign stage. This is going to be fun. So majority of our guys should be RFAs. So Brad Lambert, Kumpalainen, Misa. Holy crap, man. Yeah, there's a lot. Let's go to the bottom of this list. We are going to let go probably of a couple RFAs just to make room for some other guys. Like, I feel like Scarlett should get his ELC, but I'll probably leave that up to you guys for next episode. But let's start actually in the UFA department here. And at the bottom of the list, I am going to let go of these low 4s and medium 7s because they're not going to pan out with the amount of prospects we've been drafting. So we'll let them go. We're also going to let go of John Beecher for now. He was a bit of a cap whale. We are also going to let go of Simon Lundmark, I think, for now. We might be able to bring him back as a depth role, but for right now, he's not really needed that much. B.O. Gruhl was kind of a decent 4th line depth option, but right now we're going to let him go as well, just because we have guys in the system that might make the jump. Same goes for Tim Burney. Same for Alec Regula. Kolyachonok is an interesting one. I love Kolyachonok's defensive play. I think I might hold on to him for a year. I don't want to give him a long-term contract, but let's give him a 1-year deal just because I want to hold on to him. And Ville Heinola, I could do a 3-year deal for now, but he is going to maybe get replaced at some point. So, you know what? A 3x5 is actually good. We'll do it. Since we have the cap space, might as well. We are going to sign Mr. Scarlett for the AHL. And yeah, Colton Ellis is going to have to go as well because of the fact that Gabriel Dag should be jumping yet to the NHL next season. So we'll run Dostal and Dag in the NHL. And then it's going to be Grant and Scarlett in the AHL, as well as Ivanov, who will be the depth goaltender in the minors. So yeah, Colton Ellis, thank you for your time here. You actually were like a really solid backup for what I brought in. Probably a better playoff goaltender too. So Colton Ellis is going to be gone. So yeah, that should be all easy to get back. And in all of our RFAs here. Let's see. We are going to let go of a couple of these lower end guys like Julian Zhilikin as well. They're kind of pointless, to be honest. Same maybe with Kuzmin and Wagner, but I don't know for sure on Kuzmin because I think we needed more defensemen still signed. So I will sign Kuzmin for 1 more year. I am going to let go of Wagner, though, I think, because we got so much guys in the system here. And then we will bring back Colby Barlow. He doesn't look like he's going to pan out, to be honest. Connor Levi will give you a 1-year deal in the AHL. Luke Misa wants still a 2-way deal, so you got it. You might be NHL bound next year. And Kumpalainen wants a 1-way deal, only at 1.125. You know what? We're just going to give him it. We have the money. We might as well not qualify our phase. And then Brad Lambert, what's he listed as? Third line checking forward. He had 25 points. Not bad. I like his passing categories quite a bit, but his offensive awareness is pretty low. I think I'm going to lock him up on a little bit of a term deal that we should be able to move away if we need to. So let's do a 4-year deal. And let's try at 1.4 for 4 years. Obviously, we're going to need to sign still some cap whales, I think, with this team because we are very low on cap, or very high on cap, I should say. But yeah, we have a lot of cap space to spend on free agents, so we'll probably have to sign some depth guys to like ridiculous contracts again. So it looks like we got a rejection, I think, in there. Yeah, Brad Lambert rejected his contract that we gave him. Let me try and give him a little bit more money. 1.6 for 4 years. And then Ville Heinola rejected that 3x5. What if I talk you up to... Let's give him $6 million, maybe? 5.6? I'm okay with giving him more money since we have it, so... It's still a movable contract, which is good. So we should be able to get those guys in. Let's advance a day. Looks like Heinola did accept it based on the morale notification. Yes, he did, and same with Brad Lambert, which means everybody is signed up, and we have $51 million in cap space. We also have some unsigned guys we could sign, so I will run through this so you guys can see who should probably get signed and who shouldn't. So Scarlett would have to play in our NHL team, which I don't blame him if he wants to play there. Alan Barnett can't play in the AHL or NHL, so likely he goes unsigned for another year. Ken Roach can play in the AHL, so we could sign him up if we want to. Pierce Bishop is not AHL eligible. Rantanen is, has a low 4 who we just drafted. And then we have Louis Vara, who's also AHL eligible that we could sign. Lemaire is an AHL eligible, so I would probably lean towards maybe signing Louis Vara and Roach, but I don't know if our AHL team needs defensemen at the moment. Right wing wise, we have Wilson, who I think, yeah, was our first round pick last year. He's also AHL eligible. We have Seabrook, who is AHL eligible as a low 6, and Jacuzzi, who's AHL eligible. So a couple guys on that side of things. Left wing wise, we have McGillis, who is not AHL eligible. We have Turkov, who is, but he's only a low 9. Duchesne, who's not. And we have Enroth, who is. Eberle is as well. So a couple of our low leads could definitely play in the AHL if we want to, but they're all very low overalls. So I think maybe waiting for one more year would be good on some of them. And we also have Jamal Hurd and Jerry Bickle. Jerry Bickle is an AHL eligible, but Jamal Hurd is. So we have a lot of choices between who we want to bring into the AHL and who we don't. And yeah, you can see unsigned wise in terms of all skaters, we have now from just one draft, we have 6 low league prospects, which is kind of crazy. And a lot of them are good overall. Some of them are more project oriented, but still very decent potential guys. So that's awesome. But yeah, we definitely are going to have to sign somebody to a massive contract. Because actually, Michael Misa's contract comes to an end this offseason. Or not this offseason, next offseason. So we likely will give him an extension, obviously, to start next season. Which will at least help us a little bit with the cap situation. Same with Aiden Irving. These guys are going to want a lot of money. We'll give them a lot of term as well. That will help us with our cap situation, but we definitely are still going to need a cap whale when Perfetti's making the most money on the team at only $5.6 million. Actually, Dostal is at 6, I should say, but there we go. So what do we actually need free agency-wise? Do we need anything, really? Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have enough roster players. We might have to make a blockbuster trade. Because when we think about it, literally all 5 of these guys, almost and Yakola technically, could play in the NHL. He might get another year in the AHL, but he's pretty much good enough to be an NHLer. But technically 5 guys here already. These 3 guys definitely will be in the NHL. Levi could get cut from making the NHL, and then it's just Misa, Kumpalainen, Lambert, Stankoven, the other Misa, Lucius, Perfetti. Yeah, we have a lot of players on the forward side of things. So some of these guys might have to get dealt to bring a blockbuster player in if we want to. If we want to try and go for it this year, that is. Defensively, we definitely need more defenders. We likely would be running Heinola in Kairu, Koliachana, Galvis, Kane in Scarlet. So our defensive core could use a very good defenseman if we want to go out for a big free agent defender this year. This would be the year to do so. And then we probably would not play Scarlet, and we'd probably end up having to find a depth defenseman or something like that. I don't really know. And then goalie-wise, we're sold already on our goaltending. So, yeah, we don't really need too much, which is the funny thing. In the system, the AHL looks like this. Yeah, the AHL is going to be really good again this season, which is very, very nice. So yeah, I wonder what is out there free agency wise that we could potentially bring in. Like I said, defense probably would be the need that we'd want to do so most, but it would probably turn our team into a playoff team. Okay, let's see what we got in terms of free agents. We'll also look at the trading block, and I will probably already send a contract offer to a goalie coach and also some scouts before we end this episode. So yeah, we'll leave that to afterwards as long as I remember. Let's take a look at these free agents here. So, okay. UFA wise, we'll look at RFAs as well, but UFAs first. So we don't really need goaltenders, but the best available is Linus Ullmark, Dustin Wolf. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to need to look at goalies even anyways, but we'll still skim through it. So there is the goalie pool. Defensively, if we wanted to go for a good defenseman, there is some good defenders out there. Slavin is the best available, but he's 34. Brett Pessy's there, he's 33. Siegenthaler. Adam Boquist at 27 is not bad, but I don't really know how long term I would want to have somebody like him in. He doesn't really pick up the most amount of points for an OFD. Kalen Addison at 28. And not really seeing anything super great that I would bring in defensively, but we definitely could bring in a stopgap if we want to. Because that way we could let the meme 4 sit out for another year. Or we could play him in the NHL and hope that our defensive core doesn't simulate well. So once again, we have another bad year. But our offense is developing rapidly quick, so maybe we want to have a good year, that is. So there is all the defensemen. Right wing wise, in terms of like offense, if we wanted to do anything offensively, Barabanov, Dubé, Moore, Tarasenko. I don't think we really want to add to our offensive core as a thing because we already have a bunch of good young players that need ice time, and we don't want to take away ice time from them. There is some 26-year-olds and stuff, so there is younger guys available, but they're not like prospects. There is like Tuomala, who's only 25. Left wing wise, what do we got here? Duclair, Kraus, Mikheyev, Taylor Hall still kicking around. Dorofeyev at 27 years old. There is options, but I don't think we really need offense. I think it's just more the defensive core that I would address if I was to address anything. Brennan Othman, who's only 25. And then center-wise, Matt Duchene still kicking at 37. Shane Pinto at 27. Some ex-players of ours like, I almost said Andrew Lowry, but I meant to say Andrew Kopp and Adam Lowry. Yeah, I don't really think there's much I would bring in. Tyson Forster's not bad, but we technically do need a cap whale, so we could trade for a cap whale if there's actually anybody that would be one. So let's take a look at the trading block now and see if there's anything intriguing on the block. And then we'll also, like I said, offer a goalie coach a next contract. We'll also offer some scouts a contract as well if there's any good ones available. And I think that'll be it for this episode at that point. So let's see. Trading block. Is there anything intriguing? Gustav Forsling as a defenseman making $6 million. He's not bad, but I don't know. I'm okay with taking on a bad cap hit for 1 year just to help us with our cap situation, but it would have to be something we actually need is the thing. Like, I don't really need a Barrett Hayton or a Nick Schmaltz. Those guys also have high value, so. But we do have prospects we could move out if we want to. Lehkonen, Sod, Nothing there in Calgary. Nothing there in Carolina. Chicago has that row guy they just drafted on the block, as well as some other guys on the block. But we're not looking really to add any more prospects to our pool at the moment, I don't think. Considering we're so below the cap. Like, it's kind of outrageous that we built up such a good squad in terms of prospects and all that, and we have so much money to spend. Which is good. We could give them all, like, big contracts if we want to. Or most of them. Let's see. Not seeing really anything out there cap-wise. A lot of them are just prospects on the block, which is not what we're looking for at this stage. Joel Eriksson Ek with 1 year left isn't bad, but we don't really need forwards. I would look more for a defenseman if there's any. Tommy Novak from 4.46. He's going to drop off fast likely. Askarov, Kupari. Yeah, it's a lot of forwards on the block, which is not what we need. There's got to be some defenders. Here's some. Okay, Pulock and Pellick. They both have the exact same amount of trade value, same age, similar contracts. They might not be that bad as cap whales. Like Adam Pellick does fit our defensive core. We bring him in to help out our young defenders for a year, and then we let him go just to help out us with the cap situation. But we would need to bring in more cap whales. Also, Ryan Lindgren. We were getting offered him before. He was a -15 this season. He might be decent. He might fit our coach. Ryan Lindgren's kind of intriguing. His mustache is not very much, but what else we got here? Nothing there. Nothing really there or there. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot in terms of defenders on the block. At least that are making a good chunk of money. We might have to find somebody outrageous contract-wise. Not Ryan Thomas. What am I trying to say? Robert Thomas. He could be good, but he's still signed for 3 years. So it would hurt us for a few years. And we don't need centers really either, because we got Misa and Perfetti. Like, I don't really need a center if I was to bring in a forward. Palin's on the block by Toronto. That's an interesting one because he's an RFA. Medium elite defensive defenseman. He's probably trying to get paid quite a bit, but Dennis Palin would be kind of intriguing. He was the guy that went first overall to Vancouver. They dealt him at the deadline, and he played in the AHL for the rest of the year. He must have demanded a trade or something. Huh. We probably do have the assets to get Palin, but do we need a medium elite defensive defenseman when we got the low elites in the system and all that? That might be intriguing to try and trade for his rights to sign him, because we do have the money, and we could spend money on signing him. That might be the thing we actually look at doing potentially. But I don't know what it would cost us to trade for his rights. But we could definitely look into that. Wow, Sam Dickinson in Vancouver is also on the block, and he's a great defenseman. Two-way defender. How does he simulate? Not great offensively. -38, damn man. Vancouver and offloading all these good prospects is kind of nuts though. But Dickinson could be intriguing as well, but his cap hit for 6 years, it would help us with the salary at least, but the amount of term I don't really like. That's why Palin would be more intriguing, and he's younger too. I am going to look into the fine trade option right now here and just quickly see what Toronto would want from us to get Palin. It's probably going to be a bunch of our top prospects, which I'm not going to like, but let's see what they want. Not with our current block. How about open block? Ooh, so they want Lucius and Kyrou, which I'm not willing to do. Misa and Kyrou, not going to happen. Stankoven and Lambert, not going to happen. And then Chinnikov and Lambert. Chinnikov and Lambert could work, because that way we could open up more roster spots for our forwards, because Chinnikov eventually would leave this team. Brad Lambert, on the other hand, I'm not too sold on. I don't know if any of those deals actually make sense. They would be a blockbuster trade, but I definitely wouldn't do, I think, these three. Maybe Stankoven and Lambert would make sense, but it would make our center depth weaker. Chinnikov and Lambert could make sense, though, for sure. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's just with an open block. We could try and rework something else with our prospects involved or something like that. What about Vancouver and that Dickinson guy? Even though he's making a lot of money for a lot of term, what would it cost to get him? Nothing with our trading block. What about open block? Stankoven, Scarlett, and Grosek, no thank you. Chinnikov and Lambert. Irving and Lambert, nope. Lucius straight up. And Misa straight up, no thank you. I don't know if any of those deals make sense either. We definitely have some questions to do in the next episode, but let's take a look at the coaches available and find ourselves a goalie coach, because that's what we need in the NHL. And we'll definitely give one a contract here already, even though this episode's already like 46 minutes. Let's just find somebody that's good in terms of teaching and goalies. Let's see. Oh, there's one. There is one, Mr. Kundradic. So we'll assign Kundradic as our NHL goalie coach and just give him as much money as he's supposed to get. We'll give him that. Perfect. And is there any scouts worth signing to replace some other scouts? Yes, there is. Okay. A lot of good scouts, actually. What's our worst rated scout at the moment? Okay, we have 5 C's that could get replaced. So we could sign 5 B's and 5 scouts, actually, in general, probably. Let me sort this by overall. Let me actually see. Okay, so we should be able to actually replace a lot of those lower end scouts, which is good. So we'll sign up to 5, I guess. Yeah, we'll sign 5 scouts. Do we have any B- scouts that I could replace too? Yes, we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5. I mean, our scouts are actually doing a pretty good job in this series so far up to this point. I think I'm going to sign maybe 2 more, just in case. So we'll offer 7 scouts contracts, which means I am going to have to fire 7 scouts that are low rated. So let's fire all these lower end scouts. I actually should write down what region they're in too, because or else I'm going to completely forget what region to assign these ones to. Let's see, where's my pen? Okay, so we'll write down all these scouts. So USA East, we need USA West assigned. We all need Liga. So our 7 worst scouts extra. We also need QMJHL. And then we'll also need USA Central and DEL. Okay. So that's where those guys are going to get signed. So we are going to fire these 7 worst scouts, and they will get replaced hopefully by those 7 scouts. If they don't, we could easily bring them back again. So we need to be down to 13 scouts, I think. No, it was all the way to the Dell one. So yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay. So our scouting group is going to get reworked a little bit. We've got a goalie coach, hopefully to sign ourselves in the next episode, and our team is going to be also very intriguing. So I think that's pretty much it that we needed to do. Just got to double check on stuff. Progress reports, obviously, a lot of growth. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting team next season. Like, we could make the playoffs again easily with the amount of prospects jumping in and out of the lineup. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to free agency. We might sign some players. We might trade for some players to hopefully give us more cap hit, obviously, because we have way much cap space tonight, I'd like to admit. Like, we have like probably, I'd say, around 30 million below the limit. So we definitely need to sign a couple players that are making a lot of money to help out with this team. Send anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.